Greetings to all students, class 9 social science. We are discussing chapter 1 of civics, that is what is democracy, why democracy. So we were discussing the example of Zimbabwe. Yes, about the rule of Robert Mugabe. Now the last pair of this topic, the example of Zimbabwe shows that popular approval of the rulers is necessary in a democracy, but it is not sufficient. Popular governments can be undemocratic. Popular leaders can be autocratic. Yes, this is we have seen in the case of Robert Mugabe that though his party, worked for the independence of the country, but after that he started working in an he started working as or autocratic way, like his party became undemocratic because they used unfair practices to win elections every time. So popular leaders can be autocratic, like General Mugabe. He became a kind of dictator. If we wish to assess our democracy, it is important to look at the elections, but it is equally important to look before and after elections. There should be sufficient room for normal political activity, including political opposition, in the period before elections. Like in the case of Robert Mugabe, we have seen that his party harassed the people or the members of the opposition parties, and they were not given equal status in the country. That's why the party of Robert Mugabe, ZANU PF, won election every time. So we are to see the condition of the country before and after election, whether the other parties they were given a fair chance to contest elections or not, whether the people were given a fair choice, were they free. So this we have to see. This requires that the state should respect some basic rights of the citizens. They should be free to think, to have opinions, to express these in public, to form associations, to protest and take other political actions. So I think if I talk about all these, nothing of these points or such kind of ideas were adopted in the country, Mexico. That the people they were not free. Media was not free to criticize the government except criticizing the opposition parties. So as far as the common people, the protest against the government was declared illegal. So there was no freedom of expression. But in a democracy, true democracy, this freedom to express is guaranteed to the citizens. Everyone should be equal in in the eyes of the law. These rights must be protected by an independent judiciary whose orders are obeyed by everyone. So this also we have discussed that Robert Mugabe and his party ignored many of the judgments of the judiciary. So, but in a democracy, judiciary should be respected, and all the decisions of the judiciary must be obeyed by each and every citizen of the country. We shall read more about these rights in chapter 5. Next, similarly, there are some more conditions that apply to the way a government is run after the elections. A democratic government cannot do whatever it likes simply because it has won an election. It has to respect some basic rules. In particular, it has to have to respect some guarantees to the minorities. Every major decision has to go through a series of consultations. Every office bearer has certain rights and responsibilities assigned by the Constitution and the law. Each of these is accountable not only to the people but also to other independent officials. We shall read more about this in chapter number 4. So, this is true. If we talk about democratic government, so in government, when we have to see the condition before and after the election, and if a government is elected, it should not be free to do whatever it wishes simply because it has won the elections. So there should be some rules and regulations, some power who guides these elected representatives. Means these elected representatives should be answerable to the people as well as to other officials also. Like if we talk about legislature, executive, and the judiciary, we have discussed about the organs who keeps a check on the working of each other. They use their powers in within their limits, within their jurisdiction. So such kind of arrangement should be done, should be followed in a democratic country, that every individual or elected representative should be answerable to their fellow offices and to the people. Both these aspects give us the fourth and final feature of the democracy. A democratic government rules within limits set by constitutional laws and citizens' rights. It is quite right that if we talk about the features of a democratic government or a federal government, there we see that each tier of government has its own jurisdiction. Means all the people, like if we talk about in our state, governor and chief minister, and in the central government, about the president, about prime minister, about different ministers, they all, their powers and functions are specified in the constitution. What does it mean? That they are to work within their limits. Means they cannot misuse their power. They are to work within the limits of their powers, because some kind of their uh, checks are there on their powers. Now, summary definition. Let us sum up the discussion. So far we started with a simple definition that democracy is the form of government in which the rulers are elected by the people. We found that this definition was not adequate unless we explain some of the key words used in it. Through a series of examples, we worked out four features. Now, see, according democracy is a form of government in which rulers are elected by the people, take by the people, take all the major decisions. Mean the people, the rulers who are elected by the common people, they should take all the major decisions. Second, elections offer a choice and fair opportunity to the people to change the current rulers. What does it mean? That the people, they should be free, they should be given a free and fair choice. If they don't like the sitting party, the ruling party, they should have a fair chance to change the government if they don't like the present government. Next, this choice and opportunity is available to all the people on an equal basis. No doubt, when we have one person, one vote, one value, what does it mean? That the people, they have uh, an equal chance without any discrimination. The exercise of this choice leads to a government limited by basic rules of the constitution and citizens' right. So, in this way, if one government is elected, that works according to the some rules and regulations prescribed in the constitutions. Means there are some checks on the working of the elected representatives, and thus a balance is maintained. So these are some of the key features of the democratic government. So about democracy, we have discussed four examples. One of Pakistan, that why the government under Pakistan cannot be said to be a democratic one. Then we have discussed the case of China, where only one party, that is the Communist Party, rule. The next we have discussed about the voting system, some of the examples of Saudi Arabia, Estonia, then in Fiji, where the people, they were not given equal right to vote. Then we have discussed the case of Mexico, Robert Mugabe. So these are some of the examples by which we have discussed the features of democratic governments. So this is all for today. Further we will discuss in the next class. Have a nice day.